show, 5-Star Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to another episode of 5-Stripe Weekly, and Atl United lost 2-1 to our bitter rivals, Orlando City. Especially at home at the Benz. This is an absolutely unacceptable loss, and the performance wasn't that great either. And yes, if you are a follower of this channel and subscriber, you also know that we don't really complain about refs, but the refs were just horrible, and it really grated me. And I wasn't the only one. I feel like the whole stadium really was giving it to the ref. Anytime the refs need security to walk off the pitch, you know that they weren't great, to say the least. But yeah, it's a game that we went ahead and we were able to kind of get the crowd excited, and this might be a really good. We score first, right? Like we don't usually score first. We should probably house Orlando City. We have their number for most of it, for most of our time against them. No, not the case tonight, or not tonight, but that night. And Mauricio Pereira, their talisman, really did a number on us, and we paid for it. We switched off, and I think it's another symptom of Atl United doing what we do. We just cannot be consistent, and that's 2 losses in a row after a whole bunch of draws in a weird draw streak that kind of kept us in the conversation in kind of 4th, 5th, but now we are in 7th, hanging on to a playoff spot. But we definitely extensively talked about this match with a bunch of Atl United creators or fans. You should check that live. I'll put it up in a card. I think it's more this way, actually, above here on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast, then go and check it out on our YouTube channel. But Michael, your thoughts kind of on anything that's maybe we didn't chat about during that live. I know you've got some handy-dandy stats that we can pull from this one that might illuminate some even more misgivings from Atl United.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said is correct. In terms of Atl United's record at home, we've been pretty good. 7-0-3, I believe, is what they were saying on the broadcast. When we go up first was our record. And somehow we made our first loss in that column this time around, which was, when everyone saw that first goal go in, we were like, okay, like you said, we're off to the races. Great start. This is going to be a really tough mountain for Orlando to climb, to claw back. And fortunately, they did. And the way they did it was with at least once, with what you're saying, Mauricio Pereira's amazing pass, line-cutting, slicing pass, that found Duncan Maguire slipping past in the middle between, I think it was Abram and Purata, who I guess he ducks Purata first, and then right in between both of the center backs, finds an almost completely uncontested pass, gets it, starts the book. He's slow, very slow striker, big guy. Abram catches him, starts harassing him. Because he's a big guy, he was able to do some, control over the ball and then get a decent shot off, one-on-one, beats Guzan. And I believe that was the second goal. First goal was just a bit of quality. Unfortunately, we have a bad set piece giveaway. Put a nice little ball right on the top of, I don't remember the player's name, really tall guy. I believe it was Sosa, though, was in the midst of trying to cover him, which was never a good play, considering he's going to win against almost no one in a height competition. And so that guy gets what was tantamount to a free header, and boy, what did he put some pepper on it. That thing went flying. Guzan really didn't have much to say about it. I don't think a lot of keepers would. He put it exactly where it needed to go. That was the first goal. Second goal is like what I said. That's pretty much the undoing. outside of, us scoring that really good and well-worked first goal, which I'll describe as quickly as I can because it's just about Barry, really. Barry coming back, grabbing the ball, incredible effort, basically after losing it, and then being able to just spring Chol after just immense effort, just trying to win it back. And Chol getting a miracle, just something off. It's hard to call it a shot. Something off. And the goalie, Glaze, being as good as he is, got a good piece of it and was able to stop it to a degree. Long enough, at least, for a really good goal line clearance, which, to their chagrin, was put to bed by a speeding Wiley, who was there to pounce on the opportunity and bashed it in, which, again, great start to the game. Everyone was hopes and positivity at that point, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be.
Exactly. And, that second half for us, just nothing to write home about. And this is where the gripes about the ref come in because, there is no control of Galese at all. There's an early card for him, but then, he's very reticent to send off a keeper. So it's at that point, you have a keeper who's just, he knows he can take advantage, and he absolutely did. And at that point, we're just at the whim of Orlando just wasting as much time as possible. And as well, some very questionable calls. And yes, there's, in our live as well, we talked about how the Yakumakis yellow, maybe deserved, but still was that embellished? Absolutely. And it's just, so annoying. Lots of other calls that, went their way, not ours. And what can you do? I mean, it's just like the quality of the refereeing in this league leaves a lot to be desired. But in this match, doubly annoying because, we're at home. We should, have some sway over the refs a little bit, right? None whatsoever. He just kind of, held in his belief of just not really being a ref that gives a lot of yellows. And I feel like that would have given more control of the game to him, but it didn't. It was something that's, just played in the favor for Orlando. And, it's just another instance of, the refereeing in this league that leaves so much to be desired. But it's still, the second half, very, very poor by Atl Utd. And, we really couldn't impose very much in that second half. And it's questionable kind of what the tactic really was when we're at home. We are still trying to play out from the back a little bit early in this match, and that's kind of what kind of led to it, of kind of Orlando, I think, being pretty good in this match, at least early. I think our goal was a little bit more smash and grab than theirs a little bit, but then their two goals, which were, yes, counterattack goals, but still, like, they're just more ruthless, way more efficient than we were. And the quality of our chances, just, they weren't good enough. Like it really came to, the best chance came in stoppage time when Thiago Almada, it wasn't quite upper 90, but it was at least in the top right corner-ish. I would say it's like in the top upper 70, just for jokes. But it's, it's still a great save by Galese. And
the wall, the traditional wall that Atlanta puts up in order to confuse goalkeepers, unfortunately did not deter Galese enough. He got there and he parries it away, killing any hopes for a dramatic comeback and equalizer at the death. So
right, exactly. And so it is another instance of just the clinical ability of Thiago Almada, though, to put free kicks on goal. It's just, it's unreal. Like, I don't think anybody in the world I've seen puts it on regularity like he does. I mean, maybe like way back when Dimitri Payet was with West Ham, maybe that is when I can recall somebody being just that on point with their free kicks. But this man, this little man, this Argentine man does magic with his right foot. But unfortunately, we can't wax poetic about him in this match because, obviously we lose. But, Michael posed a lot of these questions to a lot of the people on the live. I'm going to pose this question to him. Your 3 stars for this match, who were they?
Yeah, definitely Wiley unequivocally is number 1. Not only did he get the goal, his work rate, his energy, his bravery, and his physicality, which you don't see as much. He really stepped up this game, like in a big way. He asserted himself all over the field, defensively, offensively. He was pushing guys that were bigger than him. Even like when the play was already done, he was just, still finishing up his run, and there's kind of a guy in his way. Instead of just easing up, he's just like, nah, get out of my way. Like, he was there asserting himself. I was very impressed with the fire underneath him. Definitely my number 1 for this game. Almada number 2, because even though he didn't get the goal, this guy was the operator for basically any kind of chance we were gonna have. We just never had the final pass, the final ball. There was no movement off the ball. There's no effort to try and get somewhere where an assist could actually happen. So unfortunately, despite Almada trying his best and trying to do everything himself, it just didn't work out that game. And number 3, I would say, I think Hernandez had a decent game. I think you could do a couple shouts for 3rd star in this game. So I'll just pick one. I'll say like Hernandez, I think, did decent while he was in. I saw he was doing a lot of up and down running. He also exposed himself a little bit, but I think it's because he was trying to take chances. And a lot of times when you have a team that is just not getting anywhere, nothing seems to be happening, some players will just go, screw it, I'm taking a chance. And sometimes that can unlock games. Sometimes it'll come back and bite you in the butt. Luckily for Hernandez in this case, kind of really didn't do either. Kind of was a wash, but at least he had some of that initiative, which unfortunately a lot of the other players just don't seem to have sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with most of that. I would say Machop Chol, when he was in, he was making things happen as well. So, unfortunately, he did come off with an injury, and we'll find out the extent of his injury in the coming days. We're filming this on a Monday, so there's not quite an update fully on the extent of
all we know, I think, is that it's an ankle thing.
Yeah, it's an ankle, but how long it will be, how long he will be out, we'll find out. Obviously, Leagues Cup, it's this break pretty much, and so it probably bodes well in that regard if you get an injury at this time. That you have some time to recover essentially, but I think he would have hoped probably to get some minutes as well, a good number of minutes. So that's the.
He's improving. He's been developing well.
Exactly, especially in the forward positions where he's able to use not only his physicality but his dribbling ability and his absolute height for generally a winger. Slash striker, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, he, I think he's got some things that could play really well in the future for us if he can really develop that part of his game, as well as if he can at one point develop some hold up play. I think that could be really, really good, and I think as well maybe some ball striking ability. But all right, we'll talk about that another day. But
Yako's a great guy to understudy with, so
yeah. But yeah, so there were some quotes from the team as well after the match that we'll read out, but we'll see how much credence that it actually gives. But yeah, Amar Sadic, he says it's football. Sometimes you win some games. Sometimes you win some games. You lose some games. You have to take a step back, kind of learn how we played in the formation that we ran, and get an understanding of each position and what individually we could do better to help the team collectively. I don't know if I fully agree with that type of like almost laissez-faire attitude after a loss to Orlando. I don't know.
It's a non-answer. It's just a non-answer is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, pleasantries and other types of formality. I mean, it's just,
But
says it's a lot of words that say relatively nothing, unfortunately.
Exactly. But I think what screams to me is they don't know the breadth of the situation. Is that it's a game against Orlando City. And whether some fans don't believe it's a rivalry or not, like that's the one that is earmarked by MLS for us. And that's, in any case, most fans feel like that's our fiercest rivalry. And then you lose. And then you say this after the game. I'm baffled. Like the players don't know the breadth of the situation. And yeah, that also comes from the top. But yeah, and so Gonzalo Pineda, he also mentioned. Let's see, what did he say? Actually, no. Porata, he mentioned, this is football. We have to look forward and we have to look at the film, see what we do well and what mistakes we did. We have to improve them. We have 10 days for our revenge. We want to do a great job in Leagues Cup. That's the mindset. Also, yeah.
Why does everyone think that they have to remind us that it's soccer or football before they get into commenting about things?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know. We know it's soccer.
It's definitely one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's the almost media trained answer to pretty much be like, oh yeah, especially if you win, it's like, oh yeah, this is a very important win, and and we look to the next game. Yeah. But it is one of these things.
The team was very good, respectful team. I like them a lot. They played a very good game, and
exactly. But we were just better on the night, or they were just better on the night, and it's just like,
yeah,
it's a big sigh because it's almost really refreshing to get like the Giacomakis, the Jose Martinez's, that really give it to you real, and. Just calling it like it is, where it's like, yeah, well, we played like shit, and we should be upset at ourselves, and, we're going to do everything it takes to get better next time so this type of result doesn't happen again. But
it reminds me of Jeff Lewanowitz and Stephen Glass when they were still here.
Yeah.
Some of the press conferences they've done where they just kind of Dutch uncle it and just tell it like it is. Yeah. Very real, very raw. Like you felt the emotion, and I'm like, we were in a dark place, so I don't ever want to go back there. But at least that was refreshing.
Exactly, and especially when it's these times, which right now it's not great. We're not in the best place, obviously, but there is that stat that Michael pulled out during our live. That LA United are in a similar place in the same type of juncture in 2017, in which we didn't really start getting hot until about September, when we got home, introduced ourselves at the Benz, and really went on a ridiculous kind of run to really kind of, I think, get to fourth. I think we finished that season. So, it is something that, is it possible? Yes. Can I see it in this team? I am not sure. We have some players that are coming in. We have a transfer window to bring more players in. So, by God, I hope that the failings of the front office are going to figure it out, but my hopes are not strong in the one in charge. But hopefully the one above him can start imposing his will and, get those things going in the right order. But, let's wrap up this baby. And, if you have any final thoughts on this Orlando match, that was shit.
Yeah, so one thing I want to say was Gonzo talked about in his presser that the gaps between our defense and the midfield really left us exposed, specifically on like the second goal. Again, I mean, this is something that, you know, at least he's acknowledging it to a degree in the press conference, whereas before it's kind of a, you know, it's like it's a confluence of a lot of different things, and there's just breakdowns and all over the, because he doesn't want to point to like one thing that kind of cuts that one player or that one group of players out and identifies them as like, that was a problem this game. Like, he hates doing that. No one likes to do that for the most part, so I understand why they don't typically. In this case, he's like, well, there was definitely a breakdown between the defense and the defensive midfield this game. That space that was opened up, they were able to use that space to their advantage multiple times this game and basically have their way in that area. And that was a problem he thought tactically of himself. I think Henry Higuita from Dirty Stop Soccer was asking him about, well, did you just get kind of outread in terms of your tactics? Did you get outplayed? Are you planning on changing your tactics? Maybe looking at tactics like would you switch up to a more tournament style tactic versus a league style tactic for Leagues Cup coming up? And he's like, nah, not really. Not really thinking of switching anything up. And I don't think I was out. I don't think it was tactics. I don't think it was formations. He specifically talked about how he doesn't think this has anything to do with formations. Remember, Jason Longshore on his podcast was also talking about that, saying formations, like all the breakdowns in our defense and our midfield today, he pointed out it didn't really have anything to do with the formation. Like, I get it that like you can say that, but I also will say that formations definitely have something to do with it still, though. It's not like they have zero effect on it whatsoever. So I don't know. I mean, take that for what it is. I think like there is something there. It's not nothing. However, it seems like everyone is making me feel crazy saying like there is no problem, when Henry's question was kind of pointed to in that direction with like, you sure it's not a problem? Maybe we change a little bit, like maybe. And then he's like, nah, it's all good. We're fine, baby. It's like, so I mean, take it for what it is.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. No, and I appreciate Henry Higuita for asking a pointed question like that, because I think it's necessary. There is, I mean, the whole talk about like Pineda's never gonna give away too much before the next match probably, so I get maybe why he won't say anything, especially Tata Martino probably will be listening in and seeing, okay, at least, I think he's going to pay attention to Atlanta United, especially the game before. Like, he's gonna see what they're saying and what we're saying, all that. But I think largely, though, about the formation stuff, it absolutely does have an effect, because, the personnel that's in the squad will absolutely dictate how we play. And if those understudies are not good enough to be able to play the way we play, absolutely you have to shield, or you have to like paper over some of the cracks somehow. And what other way? I mean, it's like, because sometimes if it's not that, I mean, sure, it could be tactical, but it's not like you're gonna have four central midfielders on the pitch or something like that. Like, that's going to dictate a change in the formation. And so, absolutely, it has all to do with each other. It's not just a singular type of factor, but absolutely, formation has something to do with it. But, I think, there's a lot of people out there that, that cover the team that are, shining things in a good light sometimes, and it is, I think, part of it. And it's also that, I mean, it's a very forgiving league, like we've mentioned before, and so it can be, we could be in seventh and we can make a good run, like I just mentioned, like we did in 2017, and you can just not have to worry about what happened before. And if you do well in MLS Cup playoffs, all is forgiven, right? But, during the time right now it's not great. It's not a great time right now. But yeah, I think Michael tweeted out at one point, "I'm straight up not having a good time with that with that meme." And yeah, straight up right now, I am not having a good time. Like this is a low point in the season, no doubt. You cannot lose to Orlando City at home. But anyway, let's excuse me. Let's move on to the news. And yes, it is the MLS All-Star break going into the League's Cup. And yes, our two All-Stars in Thiago Almada and Yorgos Giacomakis will play my beloved Arsenal at DC United's home at Audi Field. Wayne Rooney will be the coach. It's a weird world. I didn't think I'd ever say those words all like consecutively together. But yeah, it definitely will be very interesting. Thiago Almada will also play a part in the skills challenge the day before as well, and so that will be fun. We mentioned that in the other episode as well. But of course, the big news from this past week is that Lionel Messi has finally been announced as an Inter Miami player. Unfortunately, it
Messi
also
Watch
came
2023.
Right, exactly. But it also came with Hurricane Messi, because that unveiling at Drive Pink Stadium came with a monsoon, and or wherever you are. I mean, it's a hurricane here, but you know, it is definitely torrential downpour, and it was yeah. You saw David Beckham slipping. You saw just not great conditions for an unveiling. That's kind of why you have a dome stadium, because you don't have to worry about the weather really, and yep.
Boy, do you have to worry in Florida.
Exactly.
Every day around 2 o'clock, it's going to thunderstorm, and sometimes much worse. And, I mean, I just want to say, shout out to Miami. You guys are real lucky. Your first debut with Messi, you made it out. You didn't lose, and you avoided Messi getting an injury by not slipping on the stage walking up. So props to you on your first debut with your new teammate.
Right, exactly. And of course, you also have Sergio Busquets, also announced as an official Inter Miami player. So yeah, they're getting blessed in a lot of ways, even though they're toiling away in the wooden spoon at the end of the Eastern Conference table. But the relevance here for us anyway is that Commissioner Don Garber, he has mentioned that MLS clubs may install grass into their stadiums for Messi. And so obviously we play on turf. The Benz, I guess we could have that artificial sunlight in order to really grow the grass between matches. But there are a handful of other kind of mixed-use stadiums around the league that also will probably switch over as well. Why it's a big deal is because, Messi probably will not, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, play on turf. And so, it's something that Atl United was probably going to do for the World Cup anyway in 2026. Probably just accelerates that if it were. But, of course, our match against Inter Miami at the Benz is September 16th. So, very interesting that, if that will happen before then, and what it will look like, what it will feel like for, everybody. Like, the smell of natural grass at the Benz will be really bizarre.
I wonder if they just, open up the stadium for this Messi match, get the tickets to come in and everything, and wonder if it goes a long way to paying for the whole operation of putting the grass on. I wonder if they semi-break even, or if they make a profit or something. I have no idea how expensive it is to do something like that. So who knows if it's even worth it. But you get to bring Messi to play in the Benz. I think the best player in the world. I think you move heaven and earth. So
That's what Apple has done. That's what the league has done. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these MLS rules will be broken and really kind of stretched so that Messi can get all the accoutrements for his best time of his life in MLS. So, but also really interesting, not really too relevant, is that apparently Ronaldo crapped on MLS and the Saudi Arabian league. He mentioned that that's the best league it's a better league rather than MLS, and that's a lot of players have been now moving to Saudi Arabia because of him. We'll find out if that's how that works out. But I mean, I think if it was money, if it was straight up about money, Messi probably wouldn't have come here. Saudi Arabian league, 100% all about money. Let's just be real. But
I think it's kind of a silly thing to say. I mean, like, if you're thinking about, like, in the moment, like right now, perhaps the Saudi league could give MLS a run for the money in terms of, like, talent-wise. Yes, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's move has grabbed a lot of, like, not a lot, but like a noticeable amount of players to come play over there.
You got Benzema, you got Conte, you got maybe some other players that are playing in the top leagues in Europe and now have moved over. So
but I mean that's kind of silly to me to just compare it to now versus what the MLS's potential is versus the Saudi league's potential. I don't think there's a lot of potential there. I think it's kind of like maybe like a 5-year like start end point of like their meteoric rise, and then I think it'll probably drop off, whereas MLS I think will just only continue to grow. That's just my projecting into the future. I just feel like I'm probably going to be right about that. I just can't see a sustainable, like, massive growth of soccer in Saudi Arabia. Like, the potential for that here is like wild. I mean, I don't know how many teams are we gonna like get up to, and then how many different tiers are going to break everything out into, and like it seems like the potential is unmatched compared to any other country, honestly. Because I mean, you already have like a lot of the other stable countries that are already cemented in the way they do things. They're not going to like grow that much more or anything like that. Whereas MLS, I mean, Jesus, it's only the fertile soil for everything that's to come. So to compare like Saudi now to, you know, what it could be or what the MLS could be in the future, I think is just, that's a no-brainer. It's obviously MLS.
Yeah, and it's a great point that you bring up as well. The potential, there is, of course, the news that USL and the leagues below as well will start to try to implement promotion relegation. And so Pro-Rel in the United States again, and this time, I mean, it's pretty much kind of aimed at a crack at maybe becoming just a different product than MLS, pretty much, to be able to kind of follow the models around the world where there is relegation, and really seeing how that really takes. But very interesting. And I mean, Michael, do you have a take on that?
Yeah, I have two things. First thing is they're going to do a vote on this. So I don't think this is anywhere guaranteed that it's going to happen.
Yep.
So I don't think we should be counting the chickens before they hatch in this regard. It's a good idea. It's a interesting and smart idea on their behalf because they can, quote unquote, differentiate themselves as a brand from MLS in a quote unquote more authentic soccer style. So I think that can kind of bring a different set of eyes, a different set of like seriousness to that league that like a lot of people say MLS lacks because they don't have Pro-Rel. Moving on to the second point, some guys and I were talking in the Discord about potential moves MLS might make in the future that could include Pro-Rel. And this isn't just the old tired discussions that you and your friends probably had. We had some innovative ideas. The one idea was that it's not just build out the pyramid downwards, which is, I think, pretty much everyone's decided. All the owners will never go for that. Because if you have, like, basically what you're telling the owners that they are now, that your team has the potential to then, like, go down ranks. I don't think they're ever going to sign on to that kind of thing. It's just not going to happen. However, what they might be interested in, though, is instead of building it down, build it up. So then what you have is, let's say MLS eventually gets to, like, you know, like 40 teams or something like that. Then you could already split it into 2 leagues, 2020 or something like that, and MLS just stays MLS, and then there's like a Champions League version of it above them that you can win promotion to and relegation from back to MLS. Thing is, when you're in MLS, you're just guaranteed that spot. You don't go up and down from there. You're guaranteed to stay there. And if the owners like the way it is now, it wouldn't change. They would still be happy. But they have one added little piece of incentive here, is if they do want to invest more, they do want to do more, they want to win, and they make it into that next league, they can make even more money then. So they don't have the fear of going down. They can continue to break even or whatever non-ambitious thing they have going on sometimes. Or they can, you know, get on their saddle and then try and go up to the next league and then win even possibly more money. So, like, I feel like that's a win-win. With all this money coming into MLS, hopefully that'll be something that they could orchestrate. Maybe this is like 5-10 years down the line, but like hopefully Messi accelerates this significantly, which I think it will. But I feel like that's just a much better idea than the traditional idea of the pyramid going, you know, building it downwards, because just no one's going to get on board with that. Build it up, see what happens to like a ivory tower in the sky. So.
I like that. Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting because the Apple TV money is definitely going to be, I think, on the up. There is the rumor as well that Apple TV will be possibly trying to get the Bundesliga TV rights deal as well. And so that is all very, very fascinating. Of course, there's a lot of Americans playing in Bundesliga as well, so it's probably like a very natural kind of next step as the next league. Obviously, the Premier League, that's not going to happen for a long time. But you know, all the other leagues, they might be part of the question of, okay, you know, if that league TV deal is expiring, there is an opening for them to be able to swoop in, and that will be very, very, I think, good for Apple TV, because the more leagues that you can just kind of watch with hopefully a low cost subscription, I think it probably no doubt will go up actually if there's more leagues, but it will be very fascinating to see what transpires. But anyway, let's move back to Atl United, and Matheus Rossetto apparently is in talks with several European clubs. Nothing advanced or concrete as of yet, but I think there's a lot of fans that would probably welcome that. His definitely his option is or he's got an option, but his contract ends at the end of the season. And probably not too many fans would be worried if that happens. If we can make that happen in this transfer window, holy crap. I think we maybe can get that 8 that we need that would be able to help kind of solidify this midfield that has been a big issue. A big issue for this team. But, how do you feel about it?
I think, I mean, we're not going to get any money from him going, and that's perfectly fine. Because, I mean, just getting him a contract off the books, getting him off of the team, I think would be really good for us. Here's a hot take. I don't think Matheus Rossetto is really that bad of a soccer player. I think 2 things about him. First, I think if he's around very good players who can build him up, give him confidence, very good leadership, maybe people of like also Brazilian, like I think he would do extremely well. I think he would do much better psychologically. Like you want to make mistakes. Not that he makes too many mistakes. I think basically his issue is that he doesn't like to progress the ball as much. He likes to go safe decisions, lateral, backwards, things like that. If you're a team that fancies control and possession, and you want to have a lockdown, midfield player who, is hopefully probably going to be relatively cheap for you and is like a good backup, he's going to be fine. He's going to be perfectly fine, I think. He's definitely serviceable in that regard. Just an attacking on the front foot team like Atlanta United, that's just not him. That's not his fit. So we definitely need him gone 100%. But like, I don't think he's like, I don't think it's, a lot of people are saying like it's unbelievable that he has attention from European clubs or things like that. I mean, first of all, it's probably not going to be tier 1 teams, but still, like, it's not insane to me. So
yeah, and agreed that he's not a terrible player. I mean, he's just not a very dynamic player, and you get not really too much from him defensively, and really as well attack-wise, it's not really too much there either. So his one real skill essentially is basically keeping possession. And like you're saying, if there was a team that values that and being able to play it safe, be a little bit more, pragmatic, then that's a player that can help you. But yeah, not the type of player I think that is Atlanta United pedigree, and that's been
it's not the profile
the
we're
issue
looking
with
for.
him.
Yeah.
Exactly, especially at his price. So that's been the main thing. But, as well, let's move on to Atl United 2. So, unfortunately, they also fell to Orlando City 2, or B, rather, 3-2 on Sunday night. And, that's frustrating, of course. Both teams have essentially lost to Orlando in one weekend. Just a dark time at the club right now, like I said. But Jackson Conway, he scored his 3rd goal of the season. Nick Firmino, he scored his league-leading 11th goal of the year. But, it was not enough,
MLS next, Golden Boot leading Nick Firmino.
Yeah. Speaking of Brazilians, exactly. And that's, some of you might be asking, okay, like, this guy's killing it in Atl United 2. Why can't he be called up and play a lot of games for Atl United? I mean, that's part of those rules for you. He only has so many call-ups, and we probably will use them for some emergencies more so than actually being able to call him up and let him cook. But it's just not in the structure of MLS and MLS Next Pro. So, it is the case. We lost both matches. That is a bummer. But so that is that on the news and pretty much the entire episode. But we will talk about the Leagues Cup, which is coming up just a little bit. We'll preview the match next week against Inter Miami and Cruz Azul. But we have some bits and bobs about the Leagues Cup. Michael, take it away.
Yeah, real quick. Leagues Cup starts on the 21st this month. Atlanta's first game is at Miami at Rapping Stadium, 7:30 on the 25th. That'll be the second game that Messi plays in. The first MLS side they play against. The first one for them with his debut being Cruz Azul. Our second game is home against Cruz Azul 7 o'clock on the 29th. So mark your calendars if you haven't already done that. And lastly, in our Discord, make sure to join. We are holding a Leagues Cup bracket prediction competition. The submissions for which are due before the tournament begins, obviously, on the 21st. So if you're looking to do that, make sure you get that in before the 21st. And unfortunately, there's no real big prize for this one, except for bragging rights, which in our Discord is kind of a big deal.
So check it out in our description on the channel and wherever the podcast is found. But yes, excuse me, it will be definitely a lot of fun, at least in our Discord. Hopefully the games will be fun too. We'll find out. But yeah, definitely against Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, that will probably be some must-watch TV. So at the very least,
it's wild with the predictions. People have predictions all over the place. They have like every team winning. It's bizarre. It's crazy. So who knows what's going to happen?
Right, and exactly that. So that leads perfectly to our question of the day. In who do you think, which club will win ultimately the Leagues Cup? And also kind of an ancillary question of the day as well. How far do you think Atl United will go in the Leagues Cup? So let us know in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. But guys, that is the episode there and there. For Michael, I've been AJ. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.